Jack Welch said, "Before you are a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is all about others." I'm Bobby Taylor, and this is the Lakeview Podcast. On July 22nd, 2021, the local newspaper wrote the following headline: "Community members push for support for Ike Maxwell." The story is about how a group of community members pushed to establish an Ike Maxwell Day and an eventual induction into the Elyria Sports Hall of Fame. Now, Ike Maxwell was a tailback for Elyria High School football team in the 1970s. He broke multiple records during his seasons there and helped the school to an undefeated 1971 season. On August 28th, residents, school, and public officials, along with friends and family members, gathered downtown for Ike Maxwell Day. The event was well attended and brought a lot of attention to his life and athletic achievements. The event coordinators, Eric Bowens and Michael Bowen, did a wonderful job of mobilizing the people for a great cause. Now, a mobilizer is best described by Marty Kearns at Net-Centric Advocacy this way: a mobilizer works with people in order to focus on a set of steps to get something done. Mobilizers focus on moving people to act. Mobilizers push and pull the people they can to take a sequence of steps. Mobilizers attract and sustain engagement by demonstrating momentum and direction. Mobilizers default toward pushing to the next step. Our community needs mobilizers. Now, 1 month after the Ike Maxwell event, another local newspaper, they had a headline that read this: "Good Nights of Lorain County partners with Lowe's to build 50 beds." Good Nights of Lorain County is a nonprofit 501c3 organization dedicated to serving low-income families in Lorain County through an empowerment model, aiding with dignity. The organization was founded by Roger Dorsey, who was previously executive director of the county chapter of Sleep in Heavenly Peace, another organization that built and delivered beds for area kids. Now, when Dorsey was just 12 years old, his family moved from West Virginia to Elyria to escape domestic violence. And the Dorseys moved into a small home with relatives, so Roger had nowhere to sleep. He said from the time he was 12 years old to about 14 and 15 years old, he slept in a closet, normally on just a pile of clothes. Now, the Good Nights of Lorain County's mission is to provide complete, comfortable, and safe beds to children in need in Lorain County. Now, the beds for the children, they're constructed through a two-step process. There's build days, and those are made possible through Good Night sponsors and donors who provide the raw material for the bed components to be built. And then there's delivery days, where they engage the community to further rally volunteers to assist assemble and deliver the beds to families on a separate day. Yes, Roger Dorsey did a great job of organizing. Mr. Kearns describes organizers this way: organizers bring people together. They organize people to address whatever emerges as the people's priorities. The organizers focus on listening, building community, building trust, and building respect. Organizers welcome conversation, strive for genuine diversity, push for distributed ownership of the group, and no group process. Organizers default toward consensus, and they need to make sure all views are heard, and they want to make sure everyone is engaged. Our communities need organizers, mobilizers, and organizers. We need both. But as Gibran Rivera writes, when we mash these concepts together, we do a disservice to both. Organizers need mobilization to keep people engaged so that participants feel a sense of trajectory and accomplishment. And mobilizers need organizers to weave the base they will work with to get things done. Now, good strategies often meshes organizing and mobilizing into one effort as part of a continuum of things that happen. Great strategy focuses on consistently meeting the needs and processes of both organizing and mobilizing while carefully building the mechanism to hold the mobilizers and organizers together in alignment. Now, how many times do we hear this? That's a great group getting people together, but they don't do anything. Or that group does campaigns, but they don't engage the community or listen. We need to look at both and ask, is that an organizing group or a mobilizing group? And we can ask ourselves a series of questions. Is there a dedicated effort to organize for the sake of organizing? Or is there only organizing for the purpose of mobilization? Is there a dedicated effort to organize the people mobilized to act? Is there a process to push those mobilized back into the arms of the organizers? Is there a dedicated effort to mobilize those who are organized, teasing out people that are engaged in pushing them to act? Now, there's a great speech by Kwame Ture that addressed the relationship between organization and mobilization. Ture stated, "We must make clear distinctions between mobilizers and organizers. Now, to be an organizer, you must be a mobilizer. But being a mobilizer does not make you an organizer." He furthered to make the distinction using the most prominent civil rights leaders at the time, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. He emphasized that Malcolm X was a great mobilizer. He was also a great organizer. He stated that Martin Luther King was a great mobilizer, but not a great organizer. These facts, he said, can easily be seen from King and Malcolm, because when Malcolm, Ture stated, went to a place, he left a mosque. And when King went to demonstrations, he broke down segregation and moved on. Now, the Harvard Law School defines community organizing this way. It's a process by which people are brought together to act in common self-interest and in the pursuit of a common agenda. Community organizers create social movements by building a base of concerned people, mobilizing these community members to act, and in developing leadership from and relationships among the people involved. Organized community groups seek accountability from elected officials, corporations, and institutions, as well as directed representation within the decision-making bodies in social reform. In How Organizations Develop Activists, Hari Hahn identifies and expands on a fundamental difference between mobilizing and organizing strategies. He sums it up this way. When you're mobilizing, you build membership by taking people where they are. In organizing, you build leadership by transforming the motivations and capacities of members to take on activism and leadership. In mobilizing, you identify and recruit from a high volume of prospects. In organizing, you develop leaders who can engage others. In mobilizing, there's a centralized hierarchy. In organizing, there's a distributed responsibility. And lastly, when you're mobilizing, you're looking for the breadth of support. While organizing, you're looking for the depth of support. So leaders, let's remember this. When you are mobilizing or organizing the people, it's all about community empowerment through engagement. Now, Marty Kearns, co-founder and executive director of Green Media Toolshed, provides 4 general models of civic engagement. There's direct engagement, in which the individuals act alone to influence society and government. There's grassroots engagement, where individuals act as a part of a loose coalition. There's organizational engagement, where people through nonprofit and advocacy corporations with governing boards and a centralized leadership. And then there's network-centric engagement, where an individual acts as part of a coordinated network. Now, encouraging success means supporting each model for engagement and finding the most effective investment to empower the community, whether it's through mobilizing or organizing, because our communities need both. I'm Bobby Taylor, and you've been listening to the Lakeview Podcast.